Touching right here. We are a prairie wind when we're out traveling like this together.
I hear that trader coming. It's coming through Shoshone.
Shoshone, not Ione. Ione's where we live. Well, about 60 miles to the west, south of us.
Just ran over my neighbor.
Wait a minute, gotta do this. Earlier, Claudia's phone called me, and I answered. Hello? I could hear these voices in the background talking. Oh boy. So what did I do? Did I hang up like I should have? Nope.
Let me out! Let me out of this box! Hey, you! Yeah, you, I'm talking to you.
You know, they ignored me.
I can see why.
Yeah. So finally, okay, it says it's off. We're going to trust that it's off. If it howls anytime during the...
Somebody gets to run up here and kick him.
You get first chance to kick. Well, thank you, Chris. Boy, I can tell you right now, our sound's going to be good.
Well, we was going to thank him, huh? Okay.
Anyway, this hour, it's about Cowboys of the past. And we'd like to kick that off with the title song to one of my CDs called The Cowboys of the Past. High overhead, I hear him on the night, searching the ground on his endless light. The lonesome sound he makes soothes my weary soul as I ride my pony out tonight. I think of days of old and the cowboys of the past ride through tonight, holding their own. Chasing cows and breaking colts down by the round corral. Oh, the cowboys of the past ride with me now. My grandfather told me tales about his younger days, pushing longhorns up from the south, across the Texas plains, across the Great Divide through Wyoming, a crooked course, circle wide to Montana's pride, the Great Plains of the North. He told me about his friends he rode with on the trail, and the lonely night between cow camps along the broken rail. Across the Great Divide, we rode all night and day, riding through the darkness just to make the break of day. And the cowboys of the past ride through me tonight, chasing choking dust, short nights we ride, chasing cows and breaking colts down by the round corral. Oh, the cowboys of the past ride with me now. I turn my pony's head and head back from where I come, down a lonely trail long forgotten by some. I feel the breeze, I hear the wail, I hear the drover's wail, the chant of the night songs out here on the trail. And the cowboys of the past ride through me today, days choking dust, heading on the way, chasing cows and breaking colts down by the round corral. Oh, the cowboys of the past ride with me now. Said the cowboys of the past ride with me to now. Anyway, there you go. It's hell to write these and you can't even remember your own words. But that's all right. I'm going to turn some of these pages so I can remember.
Was it because of the apple pie?
It had to be at the apple pie last night we were touching into. I get thumbs up wherever I go after they bake or drink that. I mean, tasted that. All right. A little warm in here today, but we can do this. A good friend of mine passed on a few years ago. His name was Curly. Wasn't Curly Fletcher.
No.
He passed on a lot of years ago. Musgrave. Curly Musgrave.
Yeah.
Oh, about 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, about that now. He died of an aneurysm. He had a thing in your brain. He was a good singer, good songwriter.
Good people.
We'd like to remember him right now
Very good
as
friend.
one of the Cowboys of the past. These old cowboy bones are weary from years of hanging on to ornery cayuses. Memories long gone. I can barely hit the saddle when the morning cold prevails, but I've left the better parts of me on the lonely drives and trails. My thumbs are thrashed and throbbing, and my knees have long been gone, crushed between fence and button coats when the night wind breaks a song. But it's not that I'm complaining, Lord, or wanted your tale, but I hear you calling for me, and I want one last trail. Oh, give me one last trail. Give me one last ride before I hang my spurs and saddle and cross that great divide. Let me see one more sunset. Let me hear coyotes wail, praying one last sundown, riding one last trail. I've been blessed more than most, Lord, who would find the life I choose, who spend their lives in high-rise walls, crowded avenues. I just don't want to hang 'em, and my body's getting frail. But I figure I've got wind enough to ride one last trail. So give me one last trail. Grant me one last ride before I hang my spurs and saddle and cross that last divide. Let me see one more sunrise, hear one more coyote's wail, praying one last sundown, riding one last trail. I can count the days I've wasted, dear, forgot when I was born, forgot the names of ponies I've ridden, except this roan I'm on. Partners' names may often escape me, and my memory's frayed and frail, but I remember I'm a cowboy. Give me one last trail. So give me one last trail. Grant me one last ride before I hang my spurs and saddle and cross that last divide. Let me see one more sunrise. Grant me one more ride. So give me one last sundown. Grant me one last ride. Joe's been with me for about 10 years now. We go through this once in a while. We're trying to remember.
We've got so many songs, you know. We got only about 7, 8 books that we carry with us.
Yeah, and I leave about that many more at home.
Yeah.
Music that...
Well, between all of us, between both of us, we've got a library and a half to walk with.
we could probably play for 2 months. Never repeat a song. Okay. We only got about 45 more minutes, I'm sorry. But around 30 years ago, I was out training a 3-year-old filly. I had a horse ranch down in Nevada. And this little girl was throwing a fit every time one of the boys would get on her. My wife would try and work with her. So I says, I'll just saddle her up and I'm taking her for a ride. I'm going to tire her out and then we're going to train. And I was going along the road. And up there, they tried to help us out. They built flood ditches alongside the roads, county roads. And they were about 12 foot deep. Because when the flash flood come off those hills, it filled them and kept from going in your house. Well, I got her into a lope and a trot and then into a lope and got her into a full gallop and we was just doing fine. I couldn't see no problem with her. And about that time, she lifted all 4 feet up and she dived for the bottom of that draw, right down that flood ditch, and landed on top of me. And I had a bad concussion. And if you see me open the book, it's because every year that goes by, I lose more and more of my memory. So that's why I carry a book, and I'm proud to say I can still sing for you. So, thank you. A neighbor of mine, he's 5 miles down the road. He was working on a fence, and if he hadn't seen the dust of the horse and opened his binoculars up and looked to see who was riding across down the bottom, I'd probably still been laying down there. But in '64, I wrote a song because it reminded me of a time back on the ranch where I was raised. And when you're about this tall, you're not worth much. And when you're this tall and 85 years old, you're not worth a whole lot either. But they kept this old boy around because my grandfather had hired him. And he was a rouster there at the ranch. And when it was raining, we'd sit out on the porch of the bunkhouse. And like I said, I'm this tall. I ain't worth much. They'd all cuss at me if I go play in the trucks in the mud. But I'd sit and listen to his stories. And later on, I got a little older, and he'd passed on. But I remembered his words, and I wrote them down. And in '68, this is kind of like what I wrote. By a blackened wood stove, in a run-down old bunkhouse, sat an old buckaroo with his hat in his hand. And he lowered his voice as he told me about wild western women that wore no man's brand. Well, the old man remembered they'd drive you plumb crazy, dancing for nickels neath the barroom's oil light. And we'd come off the trail and they'd be waiting for us, pretty painted ladies in dresses so bright. Where's all the pretty painted ladies? Where's all the dance hall gals? Where are you, Lil? Are you still young and pretty? Are you waiting for me at the end of the trail? Slowly they swirled past the ranchers and the wranglers while the pie and trail on into the night. They'd be kicking their heels past us weary riders, pretty painted ladies, I miss you tonight. Well, I told the old timer that they'd all moved on years ago. No more Pretty Little. No more Buffalo Sal. But he said, son, some nights I can see him singing and dancing at the end of the trail. Where's all the pretty painted lace? Where's all the dance hall gals? Where are you, Lil? Are you still young and pretty? Are you waiting for me at the end of the trail? Where's all the pretty painted ladies? Where's all the dance hall gals? Where are you, Lil? Are you still young and pretty? I told a story here a couple of days ago, or maybe, got lost in Texas one time. Ran into a feller named Luke. And while he was playing and I was playing, we put together a few things. This one's called, and Cowboy is his name. He rode north out of Texas to an uncharted land, looking for a place to make his way. With a saddle and a bedroll and a dream in his mind, he started a legend, still living today. With his hat made by Stetson, spurs and high heel boots, through it all, not that much has changed. He never meant to be a hero, it just turned out that way. He's still around and Cowboy's his name. He's what all little fellas want to grow up to be, and what fellas can't communicate. Wow. He's at home on the range and alone in a crowd. Feels he's born 100 years too late. Now what he doesn't do for fortune or for fame. It's a way of life, and Cowboy is his name. Little Joe. Little Joe McCutcheon, folks. He's been wrote about in poetry, sung about in songs, talked about in Houston and Cheyenne. You might see him at the stockyard or a local rodeo, but most days he's out making a hand. He doesn't measure worth in money or a fancy house in town. He's happy with his life out on the plains. He's a friend you can depend on in the snow, sleet, and rain. It takes his pride, 'cause Cowboy is his name. He's what all little fellas want to grow up to be, and what women think they can't domesticate. He's at home on the range and alone in the heart. Through it all, nothing really changed. It doesn't matter where he goes, doesn't matter what his name is. It's still the same, 'cause Cowboy is his name. He doesn't do this for the fortune or the fame. It's a way of life, 'cause Cowboy is our name. Song I wrote in '67. Oh God, who recorded that? Chris Ledoux. He was a friend. He used to sit out behind the chutes there in Pendleton and also up in Cheyenne, behind the rodeo chutes. And that's where I first met him, was behind the chutes, because I was helping load chutes back there, and he would always be back there selling his little cassettes out.
That's
back.
livestock.
Huh?
You said you were loading the chutes. I just want to verify
With
livestock.
livestock, yes. I used to be the horse holder at Madam's whorehouse too, but that's beside the point. So, anyhow, Chris he wasn't the best singer, but he'd hear me doing a little song or two, and he had that way with words. He wrote hundreds of songs that were just fantastic. Well, he heard me do this one song, and he said, "Who wrote that?" And I said, "I did." He says, "Can I have it?" And I said, "Sure you can." Next time I saw a cassette, it was on it. I've never seen it since. That was in '69 he released this one for me. It was dark and I was driving down a lonely Texas road. Night was hot, sleep pulled at my eyes. I was thinking about the wildlife and the women that I'd had, the deceitful things I'd done and all them lies. Standing in the shadows by the side of the road was the figure of a withered old man. He raised his wrinkled hand up as a sign to shut her down, so I pulled over and I let him in. Now he raised his wrinkled hand up as a sign to shut her down, so I pulled over and looked by his side. He gratefully opened up the door, slid in and sat down, said, "My, ain't it hot tonight?" Well, I studied this old man and it seemed kind of strange for him to be out here all alone. Then he started talking and he told me many things about times both of us had known. He told me of his wildlife, the women that he'd had, how none of them had ever meant a thing. And he told me of Black Night, much the same as this, the strange and awesome things he'd seen. A man beside the road had raised his hand and flagged him down, so he pulled over and let him in. And that stranger told him stories that I'm hearing now about his wildlife and all his sin. Then the car got cold and clammy. The old man looked at me. He said, "Boy, I've come here for you." And his mind was shiny and his breath. Before I knew it, I was in the zoo. Then his eyes got red and fiery as he took his Stetson off to reveal his evil horn, shiny and black. And my God, the fear came over me and my senses were all lost. We fought until we crashed. The next morning they found the car at the bottom of a draw. The old cowboy was found beside the wreck. His car had been consumed by fire. The cowboy had no marks except the smoking pitchfork brand upon his neck. There you go. Thank you. I tell you, see, it's been about 20 years since I played it, and we went outside and I found it in the back of one of these books. I said, "Well, I haven't played that in 120 years better." Told a little joke, "We need to practice." You know what? We need to practice. Okay.
What's that?
Second time he's ever done that song. He's amazing.
Mixed up with that other one.
Yeah, don't get mixed up with that other one. Let's do a
Flip side of it.
I grew up a dreaming of being a cowboy, loving the cowboy's ways, pursuing the life of my high-riding heroes, turned up my younger days. I learned all the tricks of my modern-day victors. Don't you hold on to nothing too long. Just take what you need from the ladies and leave the woods with a sad country song. My heroes have always been cowboys, and they still are, it seems. Sadly and search of one step in back of themselves, their slow-moving dreams. Now cowboys are special, their own brand of misery, from being alone too long. You can die from the cold in the arms of a nightmare, knowing well your best days are gone. Picking up a verse instead of my pen, I let the words of my youth fade away. Old worn out saddles, old worn out memories with no one and no place to stay. My heroes have always been cowboys, and they still are, it seems, sadly in search of one step in back of themselves, a slow-moving dream. Yeah, my heroes, they've always been cowboys. And any man that would stand up for what's right. That was something that was instilled to all of us boys up there at the ranch. And today we still remember these words that my grandfather told me. When he'd go to town, he'd look for the best wranglers and bronco busters there was. And he'd tell me this. My heroes have always been cowboys, and they still are today, sadly in search of one step in back of themselves, a slow-moving dream. Sadly in search of one step in back of themselves, and the slow-moving dreams. Amazing once you can get two old boys to be up here, isn't it? How's our time running, by the way, Tony? What time is it?
Yeah, it's 33 minutes, boss.
11:27. So we got time. Got another story you want to tell them? No, don't.
No. Wait a minute, I do too. I've got a little poem.
No, we're not gonna do that
Not gonna
again.
do that poem?
We're doing that at 11:55 when we're headed out the door.
Okay.
Okay.
Maybe I should save it after lunch.
Not after lunch, before lunch.
Okay.
It is. I'm gonna prepare you. He's gonna say grace for you folks for lunch today. I heard it after breakfast this morning, so I know it's a good one.
Why are you sweating so much?
Because it's warm. I'm hot. I haven't taken medication.
Did you hear that, ladies? He's hot.
I just think I'm hot. That's it.
Well, that's what you get for doing your own thinking. Oh.
I remember with pride when I rode so far and wide across the prairie so open and new. On my pony I'd ride out across the great divide through the land with the big sky so blue. What's a cowboy to do when the riding's all through? I'll just do the lonesome prairie waltz. Yodelay-dee-dee-dee, yodelay-dee-dee-dee, yodelay-dee, yodelay-dee-dee-dee. Herding cows ain't no fun in the hot desert sun, but it's something that I like to do. On the range I will ride till I reach the other side, punching cows till my life's work is through. What's a cowboy to do when the workday is through? I'll just do the lonesome prairie waltz. Yodelay-dee-dee-dee, yodelay-dee-dee-dee, yodelay-dee, yodelay-dee-dee-dee. Here's little Joe. get lost.
I didn't have a road map, but it was upside down.
I know. It's like the paper they handed me back yesterday. I looked at it, it's upside down, so I turned it over. And the words disappeared. Little Joe helped me out there. He says, turn it over one more time. Words came back. I said, what? Oh, that is a magic piece of paper. Oh, back to the song. Now I'm up before the sun. I've got Mustangs on the run. I've grown a mustache, a thing or two. Trap 'em in the corral, and we'll wake 'em with a smile, 'cause that's what this buckaroo will do. What's a cowboy to do when the breaking's all through? I'll just do the lonesome prairie waltz. Yodelay-tee-tee-tee, yodelay-tee-tee-tee, yodelay-tee, yodelay-tee-tee-tee. Tonight we're riding into town, hell-bent, whiskey-bound, gonna dance with a gal or two. But when I got to the well, there's no one to tell. They've locked up the Last Chance Saloon. What's a cowboy to do when the dancing's all through? I'll just do the lonesome prairie waltz. Yodelay-tee-tee-tee, yodelay-tee-tee-tee, yodelay-tee, yodelay-tee-tee-tee, 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 yodelay-tee, yodelay-tee-tee. I'll just do the lonesome prairie waltz. That was written by two good friends of mine, Mr. Rusty Feathers and another friend of mine who passed on a few years ago, Tony Reed. That's the wrong one, ain't it? That's that other one. We're going to do it later. Okay. That is. That's the one, ain't it? When we say we have thousands of songs, we're not kidding. I carry my saddle by the side of the road. Hard rain's falling, the wind blowing cold. East across the mountains here, Nevada City, telling me it's time, hurry home. And I would fly there now if I had wings. Go slowly back to Tonopah. Headlights flashing, the cars hurry past, just like the years have flown so fast. If I could get there, I know I'd be warm. The aching in my bones would soon be gone. I fear the darkness of this coming storm, calling me back to Tonopah. The night is falling. Hear the battle calling, hot, dry, and windblown country calling me. Out where those shadows run so tall, hot, dry, windblown country, I can hear you calling to me, calling me back to Tonopah. There I was young, there I was brave, there was a warm soft kiss, waiting out the day. Everything I wanted I left waiting there. Now I see the things I never saw. My dreams are shattered now, and no one cares. I'm going back to Tonopah. The night is falling. Hear the battle calling, hot, dry, and windblown country calling me. Out where those shadows run so tall, hot, dry, and windblown country calling me, calling me back to Tonopah. If I can reach the desert, I know I'll be young again. I'll touch my woman's face, and things will be as they were then. Those horses working whiskey, and although it left me sore, but I've got no use for running anymore. I turned my collar, turned my face to the wind. Trucks running down, seems my chances are slim. East across the mountains here, Nevada soon, telling me it's time to hurry home. I pick up my saddle and head for all those things I left waiting there in Tonopah. Out where those shadows run so tall, hot, dry wind, it's a calling me back to Tonopah, calling me back to Tonopah. There you are. Song called Tonopah. Let's do an old cowboy classic. In the lobby of a big hotel in New York town one day sat a bunch of fellows telling yarns to pass a day. They told places that they had been and different things they'd seen. Some preferred Chicago town and others New Orleans. In the corner sat an old man whose hair had turned to gray, but he listened to them eagerly, to what they had to say. And they asked him where he'd like to be. His clear old voice did ring. He said, I'd like to be down in Texas, where they round up in the spring. I can see the cattle grazing o'er the hills at early morn, and I can see the campfire smoking at the breaking of the dawn. I can hear the broncos neighing, and I can hear the coyotes sing, and I'd like to be in Texas, where they round up in the spring. They sat and listened very carefully to each word that he had to say, because they knew this old man sitting here, now, he'd been a top hand in his day. And they asked him for a story, one about his life out on the plains. Slowly he removed his hat, and then he quietly began. I've seen them stampede over the hills. Man, do you think they'd never stop? And I've seen them run for miles and miles, until finally the leaders dropped. And I was foreman of a cow ranch. You know, that's a calling of a king. But you know, I'd still like to be down in Texas, where they round up in the spring. I can see the cattle grazing o'er the hills at early morn. I can see the campfire smoking at the breaking of the dawn. I can hear the broncos neighing. Yeah, and I can hear them coyotes out there singing. But I'd like to be in Texas, where they round up in the spring. I'd like to sleep my last long sleep with Mother Earth for bed, my saddle for a pony. Yeah, know the bright stars overhead. Then I could hear the last stampede, and I can hear the songs that Rivers sings way back down in Texas, where they round up in the spring. Way back down in Texas, where they round up in the spring. Other time, Chris. Thank you. Oh, we got time, because I got a request I got to fill too. Oh, did I bring it? I don't need it. I know where it's right here. Marcy, I'd like to do this song for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Well, you know it. Actually, I finally got it recorded on a CD, other than somebody else's. And the new CD coming out here about another month. When I get back and get a few corrections made, we're going to send it off to disc makers down in Texas, and they're going to hopefully not rob me, and they're going to do a good job. And this is the first time that, first CD that's going to have this song recorded on it. It's called Forbidden Angel. She steps from the shadows, her long hair flowing down. This cowboy heart quickens as she turns around. Slowly but surely, this feeling comes over me. Her dark eyes flash a warning for me to stay back. I know what that means. Here I am in old Mexico, to fall in love again. Here in the back of this cantina, let the night begin. She crosses the floor, and her shadow crosses the wall. I feel her eyes upon me as I start to fall. Slowly but surely, this feeling comes over me. ¿Qué pasa, amigos? Lo rescato por favor. Here I am in old Mexico, to fall in love again. Here in the back of this cantina, let the night begin. Little Joe. Music now fades as she sits here by my side. This Mexican beauty, she's mine all tonight. No mas, señorita, I can't take this no more. For you are the dark angel, mi corazón. Mi amor. Here I am in old Mexico, to fall in love again. Here in the back of this cantina, let the night begin. Let the night begin. Dejar la noche empezar. There you go. Now, how many minutes do we have? 12? Wow. Wow, that's right. Oh, I know. What? I want to do this one. It's Mozart's Fifth in E flat.
It's too early in the morning.
I know, but I figured you'd get over it.
Somebody will.
You want me to whistle a tune for you? No. I'd rather do Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata in E flat. Yeah, right. This is like Beethoven's song right here. In 1934, this was recorded for the first time by Mr. Gene Autry. An old cowboy riding out one dark and windy day. Up on the ridge he rested as he went along his way. When all at once a mighty herd of red-eyed cows he saw, a plowing through the ragged sky. Now up a cloudy draw. Their brands are still on fire and their hooves are made of steel. Their brands are shiny and their hot breath you can feel. A bullet went through them and they thundered through the sky. They saw the riders coming hard, and he heard their mournful cry. Yippee-yi-yay, yippee-yi-yay, yippee-yi-yo, yippee-yi-yo. Those riders in the sky. Here's Joe. Don't mind him, you heard one call his name.
Hey, Joe!
If you want to save your soul from hell, a riding on our range, then cowboy, change your ways today, or with us you will ride. But trying to catch the devil's herd across these endless skies. Their faces gummed, their eyes blurred, their shirts all soaked with sweat. They're trying hard to catch that herd, but they ain't caught him yet. 'Cause they got to run forever on the range up in the sky, on horses snorting fire, as they ride on through their cry. Yippee-yi-yay, yippee-yi-yay, yippee-yi-yo, yippee-yi-yo. Those riders in the sky. Yippee-yi-yay, yippee-yi-yo, yippee-yi-yo. Those riders in the sky. Those riders in the sky. There you go. What we got, a minute? 7. 7 minutes is pretty good. Nah. We won't forget about our noonday grace. Yeah, I probably shouldn't have told you folks that. You'd all have probably said, oh, okay. You know, here's a song that was recorded long time ago, and no one else ever recorded it but what this one man did. And I couldn't even remember who recorded it, but I knew the title of the song. So I looked that up on the internet, and lo and behold, it was there. I'm not sure if Marty Robbins ever sang it. I think he did. Maybe that's the guy I heard it sing, but it's called The Tall, Handsome Stranger. The tall, handsome stranger rode into town with fire in his eyes like the red sundown. His boots were all dusty, his coat open wide. 6 ways of dying lay hung on his side. He went into town hall asking for me. They told him that I was still town deputy. I sent him to prison. I killing the stage, killed another guard on the Santa Fe. That night in silence, the town was asleep. I sat by my window and tried my feet. Oh, shoot. I feel like one of them poets. Where do they go?
It's in that book of, where they go.
I'm not going to forget. I know what this chord goes to, but I'm not sure what the word was. Let's start back over with that, because that was kind of a fun thing to start. I wish I could have finished it in one blow. But we're burning up time for what we're doing. It's a real short song. That night in silence, the town was asleep. I sat by my window and I looked down the street. I wished in my heart that he'd just ride away. I hated to face him that very next day. He spread word around town that my time had come. My notch was already notched on his gun.
Raymond's there. Oh, I didn't know.
Now he's laughing and bragging and having his fun. It's all a show 'cause he knows I won't run. I met him at sunup, the crowd gathered round, waiting and watching for one to go down. He went for his 6-gun, trying his best. Cursed as a bullet went deep in his chest. Now he stood there a moment, looked all around. Slowly and lifeless he fell to the ground. This stranger's my brother, born an outlaw. He must have forgotten I taught him to draw. Now the whole town is waiting and waiting alone. Blood that I spilled was that of my own. When she hears a story, how mother will cry. Brother against brother, and one had to die. That's twice we've played this song. There you are. Paul Hampton's great. Maybe next year we'll get it better. Is it time for the grace? Could we all bow our heads?
Men around the campfire, men around the cows. Now men around the chuck wagon with beans and chili for chow. Now men with one thing in common, men with leathery hands and faces, with cows and beans and smelly men. Thank God for open spaces. Amen.
All right, let's go chow down. Thank you, folks. I'm Coyote Joe. This is Little Joe. We are Prairie Wind. We'll be hanging around all day today. Thank you again.